Parsha 101, Haftarah 101. This week, there's two Parshas together, Parshas Vayakhel-Pekudei. They are the last two Torah portions of the book of Shemos. And so, the Haftarah for this week is of the second Parsha. Because Vayakhel has a Haftarah, Pekudei has a Haftarah, but when they're together, then the Haftarah for Pekudei is read. As a general idea, they're both from the same parts of the book of prophets, and they're both speaking about the first temple, because in the Torah portions of Vayakhel and Pekudei, it summarizes, it revisits the building of the tabernacle, that first all the commands were given, and now it says the Jewish people did as they were instructed. So Vayakhel is all about the Jewish people making an effort from down here below to up to God and saying, we're building the temple, we're building this place for you now. And then Pekudei is when it's all complete and God's presence, it's inaugurated and God's presence comes to dwell in it. So the Haftarahs reflect that. They're from the book of Kings, and it's all about the first Beis Hamikdash, the first temple. The first one talks about how, so for the usual Haftarah for Vayakhel talks about how King Solomon called someone named Hiram from Tzor, and he was a coppersmith, highly skilled, also a blacksmith, a silversmith, and a goldsmith, all the smitheries. But here specifically was a coppersmith who was making these big pillars, and they were making this whole called the sea, like the basement, these things that he was building that were going to be in the first Beis Hamikdash. That's what the Haftarah for Vayakhel is about. The Haftarah for Pekudei is from later on, the book of Kings 1, and it's later on, chapter 7, goes into chapter 8, and it speaks about how once everything was done and the first temple was complete, now it's time to bring in the vessels and to bring in the ark. This is the big thing, that we bring in Aaron, bring in the ark, and this shows that the temple is complete, because the ark is really the heart of the temple. And this is where God's presence is mainly focused within the temple, etc. And it was brought to the temple with great fanfare. It was brought from the city of David, which is Zion, they said, and it was brought, and it was a whole celebration for it to have been brought there, and it was placed in the sanctuary, said, and it says the poles were still left in it. The ark was built with poles. The poles were never taken out, and they kind of protruded out of the curtain that divided the Holy of Holies from the inner sanctuary. And then it speaks about how God's presence came to dwell, like a cloud filled the whole temple, and they said, oh, this is God's presence is here. King Solomon spoke to the people. He blessed the people. He said, blessed God. He told my father that you desire to build the temple, but it's going to be your son who's going to build the Beis Hamikdash, build the temple, and so I've built the temple. And this, of course, caused for great celebration, etc., etc. Now, there's one interesting thing that it speaks about when the ark was placed in the Holy of Holies. It says, there it remains to this day. So the commentaries have different takes on this. And one of the things that they say is that King Solomon knew that the first temple wasn't going to stand forever. So he built this underground chamber, so which is theoretically it's part of the first temple, but so the ark had two places where it could be. One is within the Holy of Holies, and one was this underground chamber, just technically part of the designs for the first temple. When there was the later king, Yoshiao, I think it was, when he saw that, okay, the Babylonians are coming, this is not a great situation, it's going to be happening right now, he hid it, the ark, in the chamber, and no one has found it until this day. So he said the second temple, actually the ark was not in the second temple. But how can you have a temple without an ark? That's the heart, that's the focal point of the entire temple. So it's not that it wasn't there at all, it was just in the hidden chamber. So it was there, it just wasn't visibly there. Which, when you look at it from a certain perspective, it means that the ark is constant, and as it says that it was there till this day, it is there till this day. So in a way, when the heart is still there, and the focal point of the temple is still there, in a way the temple has never fully been destroyed, and we only wait for the third structure to be built, the third temple to be built, which will be in Mashiach times, and that is a Beis Hamikdash that will never be destroyed.